Brad. Welcome to the Great American Coop Tour. Today we are just outside Atlanta with Marnie Newman. Marnie runs a great Facebook page called My Blueberry Life and is going to give us a tour of her coop. Thanks a lot, Marnie.
You're welcome. Let's go. This is my Laparoo crow.
Was he the one in the...
He's the one who lamed his leg when I was on my mountain trip last year, and we took him to the vet. They never could find a break. They couldn't find any injury, but he still limps a little bit, but he loves to be cuddled.
Does this building have anything to do with the chickens?
No, not at all. This is just my husband's workshop. He is a man of many talents. He welds, he does woodwork, he does airline maintenance. So, yeah. And then I'm the crazy chicken lady who one day said, hey, let's get some chickens,
So what sparked that idea for you?
I had them when I was a little girl. My grandmother had them, his grandmothers had them, and we had this great new feed store move here to the corner of our neighborhood. And I went up there one day and saw the baby chicks and said, oh, wouldn't it be wonderful to have some? And he said, well, maybe when we retire, honey. And so I said, okay, how about now?
And how many did it start with?
We started with 10. We didn't know how hard it would be, to keep them or how long it would take to raise them. We had them for a month before we even thought about a coop. So they were outgrowing brooders and taking over the house. And he immediately said, pick your coop, honey. Get on Pinterest. Get those ideas going. Let's get out there.
Did he build it?
He did. He built it all himself from scratch.
So how many do you have now?
I have 40 chickens. I have 3 roosters and 37 hens. He's trying to run them out because they love to hide under the trailer. We do have hawks in the area, and they do graze by pretty fairly often. So they just like to hide, especially my older ladies. They stay out of the mainstream, and all my little girls like to come out here. This was all woodland. When we moved here, there wasn't even 15 feet, 20 feet of grass here. Everything was all trees from here back. And when we started contemplating the shop, the chicken coop, we started just removing trees, and the grass has just taken over, and they can't eat all this if they try. Now, unfortunately, you're here in a growing season, but in a month, this will be ankle deep, and they will be out here every day. This is a great source of forage for them that saves some feed expense.
So what's the, you're at 40, you started with 10. Have you guys had the discussion on what that top number is?
No, not really. We never intended to get over the dozen mark, and then as we added a few and hatched a few and bought a few more, it just chicken math kind of happened. And sometimes we lose one here and there, or we decided not to breed this year. We decided not to raise any just because we are at our max capacity. We don't want them to be uncomfortable, and we've had to do 3 run expansions as well to make room for them for when we are out of town or when they have to stay locked up.
Let's talk about predators. Outside of hawks, what else do you have out here?
We have weasels, we have coyotes. The back fence has pretty much stopped all of that. We put up some of this hog wire fencing, and most predators, not even the deer, really want to mess with the fences too much. But we do have some raccoons occasionally out here. Snakes. We've had snakes get out here and eat peeps, eat eggs, get into all kinds of mischief. So yes, being up against the woods has its disadvantages, but I also stay home. So I'm here to supervise and watch most of the time. Okay,
so now on this is the coop that Jeff built.
Yes.
And you designed it, or how did you pick out height, width, how did you decide what you wanted in it?
It kind of just had to build itself. Like most people, I went on Pinterest and saw all these gloriously big coops, big windows, everything. And then we went to our local Habitat for Humanity and found glass doors, glass windows. But when we got home and started putting together the measurements of how we were going to fit these big 4-foot windows in, it ended up needing 8-foot walls and higher ceilings and whatnot. So it just kind of worked around the materials.
Walk me through this here. Some of your favorite features, some of the things that, when you talk about the additions and the things that you've had to change over the years. Hey, buddy. Who's this one here? Do you have them all named?
Oh, we do. We do. Everybody has a name. This is Muffin. Muffin is a salmon fatherole. She is the smallest of the flock and probably the lowest in the pecking order, so she tends to stay in the house quite a lot. She's a very calm girl. My husband and I love to antique. That's one of our second big things when we travel, is to hit antique stores, and everywhere we go there's chicken things, so of course we have to bring a few home and enjoy it. Some of my favorite features are our feeding system.
You designed this?
We did. They're 3-inch pipes, just cut open and jointed, and it's a gravity-fed system. So you can pile in a gallon or a couple of gallons of feed in this thing, and just pop that off, and we just pour it in, and it just feeds down.
So how, if you ever left for a weekend or something, Would both of these get through 2 days for 40? Or?
Absolutely. We have 2, and then we have 2 with the 45-inch joint outside.
Oh, okay.
So between those 4, they won't need filling for at least 3 to 4 days. We just kind of started with those 2 and then started adding as we added birds. Same with the perches. We had 1 perch that held all of our birds, and then we added 1 more, and then 1 more.
So was that the first one?
That was the first
And
one.
then you just keep...
And we decided to keep it sliding like this so that we can move them. They're sturdy. I mean, they never knock these things off, and we space them out at night, and everybody has plenty of room. And
Oh, that's a pretty good idea. And is that oyster shell? that
oyster
you have
shell,
there?
it is. It's just an old ladle that's been painted.
Do they roost up here, though?
We've only had 1 in 5 years that's
Yeah.
ever tried to roost up there. So far, no one else has braved it.
Okay, what's this here?
This is just a light. It's just one of these little battery LED lights, so that if I come in here at night, it's a little dark. You know, this is a great little inexpensive tool you can find at any Home Depot. These are nest box curtains. They really like the privacy.
And those are kitty litter pans?
They are. They
That's
make
a
it
pretty
easy to
good
dump everything
setup.
out and sanitize quickly and refresh easily.
And it's the same setup on the other side?
Yes, it is. We started out with 1 set of nest boxes, and then my husband came out here and added the other set on. So
I wish I had that ability. I see eggs there. There's 1 nesting in a box right now.
yes, there's somebody.
They lay in all the boxes.
They do.
They're not all in one? Like.
No, and we have an outdoor brooder as well that they love to lay in when it's not in use.
Do you have a favorite breed?
Brahmas are my absolute favorite breed, and most of this year's peeps are part Brahma because they were bred over a Brahma female.
Holy
Yeah,
cow.
that's Miss Sage.
No,
We
I'm
usually get
busy.
upwards of 2 dozen eggs a day
you
easily out of
really?
these girls. Some of my older girls don't lay as often anymore because they're getting to that
Right.
phase out point.
So if you have 40, that's 37 hens with 3 roosters.
Yeah.
Were the curtains on the nesting boxes from the beginning, or is
Yeah.
that something you
No,
added
we
in?
started out without them. So I went through my linen closet and had some old balances and things that we weren't going to use, and we just installed them in, and the girls really liked them. It gives them that little level of privacy that they enjoy.
Yeah, I didn't even notice she was in there. What?
This is our wireless
Cable-
antenna
cable
for
TV?
Christmas this year. Yeah, and this is our Coop cam. My husband got me one of these great
Seriously?
little Coop
Where's the
cams,
camera?
and that's our booster antenna. It's on my phone, which I don't have on me. The camera's inside the run, and this way I can, from the safety of the house, you know, in a rainstorm or whatever, I can just pop on Coop cam even in the night.
This, or is that a light?
It. Nope, that's it.
Wow.
And it picks up at night.
So is it like a night vision thing, or?
Day, night, yeah, it picks up really well. I can see even if somebody was out there. We had somebody who was broody last month, and I could see the little twinkle in their eye even at night through the box.
And this is wired into your phone.
It is.
How cool.
It is.
So here's the other feeder you talked about.
There's 2 of them, and they really love these. They will drain these first and foremost.
Because?
Because they're outside. They
Oh.
don't like being in the coop during the day unless they're laying. So
Yeah.
out here spreads them out a little bit. Nobody has to fight over feeders.
What a great setup this is. So you built this?
My husband built that after seeing all the videos of chicken swings, you know, so he said, I can make you one of those. So we have a couple of girls that like it. The rest of them are a little skittish
Yeah.
of the movement.
And these roosting bars out here, what are these?
This was an addition from last year's hatch. We had never had a successful hatch before, and we got a new IncuView incubator and just filled it full of eggs, and all of them hatched. So between that and a few broody hens, we probably had over 36 new chicks last year.
Wow.
And not enough room, not enough bars. They had not integrated yet. So since we raise them in the summer when it's really hot out here, they are very comfortable sleeping outside, and he installed this big wraparound perching system for me. Initially, it was just this area up to where you see this bar. Literally, that was the run. And for, 13 chickens at the time, it was perfect. But with another year's addition of another 6, and then the next year another 15 or so, we brought this out. The only trick was the tree. I didn't want to take another tree out, so we had to work around it.
I like that.
And my husband built a brooder. This used to be a little brooder area that was enclosed, but it was too high for me to reach because I'm short. So we expanded this out. A 3rd addition was all of this. And there's a little sliding door that we can close,
Are
you know.
you kidding me?
We had to do this so that whenever we have mommies brooding and raising
Right.
peeps, or when they're growing out, they're not being attacked before we wake up. So this way they're out here and they're comfortable and have their own little space. And when it's not in use, I have quite a few hens who like to make a nest box out of it.
Who's that?
That's Chiffon. She is one of my oldest ladies. And I think she might be acting a little broody. She was our very first
not
mommy.
Happy. Not happy about being
Oh, she's
found.
a very easy hen. She's okay being handled and a little bit shy. She stays away from everyone else. But she was our very first mommy. She just turned 5.
Oh, you got eggs up in here too.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, you got 4 or 5. How cool. So what's their spot? Right when you open it up, where do they run to?
They
Where's their
run actually
favorite?
to the front yard because we give them treat. Every morning when they wake up, they get a handful of treat thrown out. So they go wait at the door
Yeah.
for you.
And what's your treat of choice?
We usually like to use a scratch grain blend that uses wheat and cracked corn, not solid corn because it's so fattening, and we typically don't give it in the summer months. So as soon as this weather hits about 80, they're done with scratch for the season.
Do they still get a treat at that point?
Sometimes I'll have a little handful of mealworms or something. We always have big bags of mealworms around. They get a lot of kitchen scraps, a lot of fruit peels, a lot of things in the morning, so they are not deprived.
Okay, so 2 questions. When you look at everything that you've done, what is that one thing that you would say, if I had to do it all over again, I would change this because of, and I'd change it to what?
I would build a large run from the start. Maybe a little more symmetrical. I would go all the way out and give it a little more of a lean to the roof. We have, a lot of maintenance having to clean the roofs and work around it. But really, you think it's a lot of space, even with just a few, but when they're small, it's not.
Right.
You need more, and there will be more. There will be more birds eventually. So I would definitely go really big from the beginning and save ourselves the extra work every summer. There's always something that needs replacing. We need to work on a door. We need to work on the fencing. We went straight with chicken wire, and there are things that can get through that. So we would use hardware mesh the next time. There are things we've just learned along the journey that we would do differently the next time.
So what bells and whistles have I missed here?
The solar panel operates this light right here, which comes on at night. It's a green light. There again, it's just so that there's a little light out here to deter predators from coming in close. It allows the camera to function really well, and when we have broody hens or somebody sleeping out here, they can see, they're not blinded. So we like using solar energy. We're hoping to expand on that in the future, but this is why we would like to expand. He loves having a big shop, and we really enjoy keeping chickens. This has been such a great family activity and just get us outdoors, and so we really want to do it bigger when we get to the mountains.
Yeah, I love it. I think you got a great setup.
In the summer, the deck is their favorite place to be because I do some gardening up there, and we sit out there all the time, so they love to be with us, and they get under the deck where it's nice and cool. That's their cool spot when it's 100 degrees out here.
So when you let them out in the morning, do you let them out through the front? Do you let them out in the run? And
usually from the run side, just so they don't have to come down the stairs, but it doesn't have a pattern. It's really just whatever gets opened first. And they're usually congregating because they can see me from the house out of the run. So they stand out there and squawk and make noise till I come out and let them out.
When you say that you give them treats from the front door every morning, do you mean around the front? Or
no,
this?
from this.
Oh, from this door.
From these doors. They come out of the doors. They flood around to the building door, and because that's where all the food stays. It's more climate controlled in there. I would love to have bins out here, but our humidity is so wicked here in the south that the feed will literally start powdering and molding. We've had mold problems, so we keep it in an air conditioned area in sealed bins, and they know that's where it stays. What
kind of feed do you use?
Mainly Purina Laina right now, and some Nutrena Feather Fixer.
I love it. That's so awesome. Well, hey, Marnie, thank you so much for the Coop tour. Love your setup here. Watch the Great American Coop Tour, and certainly you can check out Marnie on My Blueberry Life on Facebook.